I mean, it's hard to communicate just how dangerous and how extreme these missions really were. There was a duality to it that's interesting, just in a cinematic way, but it also is, I think, truthful to the reality of the extremes of their lives at that time. Seeing the Apollo 11 capsule, you know, those visits to NASA, just sitting in these really carefully reconstructed capsules, having astronauts that were involved in those missions like talking to me in my ear through the scenes. It was a very, very surreal process, sort of an opportunity that I still can't believe I got to have. It takes a certain kind of person to knowingly get into a plane that has never been flown and push it to its breaking point so that you can find its weaknesses and improve it. It's, I think that says something about Neil, and in this specific flight that Neil took, he takes it to such an extreme that his life is really in jeopardy. I think all of our respect just grew by the day as we were, you know, trying to wrap our heads around the technical and emotional obstacles that they were dealing with on a regular basis. But also, I feel like we all benefited from this perspective that space exploration had given them.
I think without examining him as a person and therefore examining his family and what's that, you know, the people that he is surrounded by, you wouldn't be able to understand the man. And I think that they suffer a great tragedy that I find almost impossible to imagine any family would ever recover from. But out of that tragedy comes this sort of extraordinary decision and bravery in a way in him. You know, I think that's where the film investigates it. I think you do investigate Janet and her dealing with it and grief and all those sorts of things, but it's much more about what that drives Neil to go and do. They're very different people, Janet and Neil. I think Janet is very gregarious and outgoing and loves having people round and doesn't love being the hostess, but she is a very open person, I think, and a very, very good friend, very loyal. So what I hear from all her friends is that she is you know, she's not a person to do something for the sake of it, but she will, you know, drive 600 miles to see her friend because they need her, and that she will, you know, she understands what people need. Neil is very different. He's not introverted, but he has got so much going on in his mind that he doesn't need to look out so much to be so social. And I think that's probably what he finds so attractive and is such a good partner in Janet, is that she carries the load. You know, she takes care of her end of business, really. He wasn't conventional. He didn't do what everybody does, which is try and make everyone else feel great about themselves, and, you know, if there's an awkward silence, try and fill it. That's not what Neil did. And so I think innately Ryan as a person is kind-hearted and generous and warm, and I think that's just naturally what he brings to Neil. I don't think, you know, if you had someone who wasn't like that, it would be an impossible task, but it's just not, because that's what Ryan's like, to the point where I'm like, being Janet in a scene, I'm supposed to be really angry with him, and I'm thinking, well, I'm just not. He seems really nice. I think that's the thing about Damien, it is his vision. He knows what he's doing, and he gets everybody excited by it. And I feel like he is so excited by the process of filmmaking and by creating things that it really means that you feel like you're invested in every part of it. I don't think I've ever had a director be quite so giving of the story to you. Like he really kind of opens it up and you know, gives you the authority over your character and allows you to try different things or do anything, or say if you're not comfortable with something. He's not precious in any way, shape or form. which can only benefit the story. This is a story of a man who did something extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. And only one other person knows what that experience was like at that one time for him to do that, and that's Buzz Aldrin. And it's not about just the mission. It's not about just getting to the moon. It's not about just the space program. It's about him as a human being and what it means for a human being to make such extraordinary strides for humankind, and what pushes them to put their life at risk for the rest of humanity.
Ryan Gosling, we seem to think his big break was Breaker High, but Gosling's first major film breakthrough was his supporting role in the sports drama Remember the Titans from 2000, starring Denzel Washington. He followed that performance with a leading role in the critically acclaimed film The Believer, where he played a Jewish neo-Nazi. This movie won the Grand Jury Prize at the Sundance Film Festival.